little more. Hi, everyone. It's
Hello.
Chicks Talking Pics time. Hi, Jenny. Sorry, cut you
Hi.
off there.
That's okay. I interrupted
Uh,
you.
are you home?
Yeah. Are you?
Okay.
You're the one always
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah, I'm home right now. Yeah, I'm ready, getting ready to take off to Anza-Borrego Desert for a little while. And I'm running a workshop out there
Cool.
starting on the 27th. So, or later this month anyway. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Anything exciting?
No, just plugging along.
Yeah, same here. So last episode, we had 4 images from one of my participants at the Salt and Sea workshop. Remember that?
Yep,
Oh, is that Martok?
it is. I might have to kick him out.
uh, and he sent in a few more images for us to look at. So let's get started with those images. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much for sending those in.
Yeah.
And Jenny, you're up.
Okay. And as we saw with this photographer last week, he really likes to go for graphic images. And once again, this is a very graphic, colorful image. Obviously, it's in some high spot with a wide angle lens. I don't have a lot to nitpick. The only thing that bothers me is the way that the cans fall off on the bottom. I would actually flip the image over. I don't know if he shot it this way or if he flipped it afterwards, because they just feel like they're further away from me the way they're angled. And it makes me feel uncomfortable. But that's just a personal preference. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting the all the details and what's, how each can is slightly different and has different stuff in it. The only thing, looking a little harder, there's some white stuff over in this right corner. Let me get the annotation. There we go.
Oh yeah, I see that now.
Yeah, over here. That's a
Mhm.
little distracting. You could easily, you know, either heal that, clone it out, or I don't know if you'd want to crop in on it.
What about that clump a little bit higher? That
Yeah,
clump of white. Yeah.
yeah, I was looking at that too. It's kind of like,
Mhm.
not sure what it is. It kind of distracts from just the paint buckets themselves, and then there's this odd object off on the corner. So yeah, I mean, you could easily just crop it in and get rid of those that way, without having to
Sure.
do a lot of digital manipulation. What do you want to say?
I agree with you on those two sections, and even on the left-hand side, upper left corner, there's that white can. Well, actually, there's 3 little edges of cans.
Those
Three
ones?
little, yeah, and the one above on the top
Oh yeah.
part of the frame, just 3 little tiny edges that maybe you just clone those, and that would be great. Now, when we say clone, make sure that you're allowed to do that in the competition that you're entering, if you're entering a competition. But for hanging on the wall or in a portfolio or something like that, these are little suggestions that we make that might help the image a little bit and keep the viewer's eye in the middle of the image. Now, after Jenny said it, I'm curious to know if we flip this one, whether it would be more appealing. I almost think it would be at that point.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I don't know. I don't know. Try it. Play around with it and see what you think. Does anybody know where this was taken, Jenny?
No, because I haven't been
No.
out to the Salton Sea, which we were discussing, and you couldn't believe.
Yes. Can you believe it? Jenny has never been to the Salton Sea. Okay. So this was taken at Salvation Mountain. And if anybody knows about Salvation Mountain, it's where a gentleman by the name of Leonard Knight kind of squatted years ago, and he decided to just use random paint that he had to paint the side of this mountain. His goal was to spread the word of God. God is love is all over the mountain, but he was never one to preach. I spent time with him out there several times, and he never preached anything. It was just his vision and his livelihood to kind of stay out there and paint a mountain.
I
So
have heard of that.
yeah.
And as you've been talking, I just noticed there's a shoe in the bottom of the image, and I don't know if that belongs to the photographer.
That's interesting. Look at that, Jenny. Jenny that didn't want to nitpick.
Yeah, well, I've
Yeah.
been looking at it for a while now.
Yeah, you might want to look at that and get rid of that shoe. It doesn't go. So very good. Yeah, good call. Anyway, if you want to look up more about Salvation Mountain, if it's a folk art site on the registry now, and you can go out and visit it anytime during the day. There's a caretaker there. Leonard Knight has since passed away. So, and let's see what this maker's settings were on this one. So 1/125 of the second, f11, needed for that kind of a close shot with all these paint cans to be in focus. So that's good. And ISO 100. Well done. Yep. So maybe those suggestions will help. I don't know. Maybe you don't like them. Maybe you will like them. This is all up to you. We're just here trying to give some suggestions. So, all right. So I'll start out telling you where this was, because even Jenny thought it might be paint. It is not. It is mud pots out at the Salton Sea. There are still a couple of areas that you can visit mud pots. These are bubbling mud volcanoes. They're much taller than I am, and I'm 5'6". Even they're over sometimes 6 foot in this area, and this was taken down shooting from above the mud pot down on the bubbles that were being created, because this is a geothermal field. It's got a lot of geothermal activity out in the Salton Sea, especially the east side of the sea, San Andreas Fault, things like that. So this, I love the image. I think it's a really, really great image. An interesting tone, the gold tones, I think makes it just throws it out of the norm. If it were brown, you might know it's mud pots, but the gold tones really added to it. And I like that little streak of blue that runs through, like for instance, right here under this top left a bubble up there. So
it's not normally this color. This was
no,
added.
it's not. It's flat mud color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very creative.
No, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I didn't think it was mud, because it just looked too golden. Yeah. The only thing that is catching my eye is this little blurry area over here, which seems somewhat out of place because everything else around it's fairly sharp. But I don't know why it's blurry. It caught my eye, and now I have a hard time moving away from it.
It's interesting, huh? Because it could have been a bubble that popped or something like that, or
yeah, it could have been.
Yeah,
it's hard to say because there's so much going on. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting image. I really like it.
Yeah.
So what are the settings?
The settings were 1/1000th of a second, which would be appropriate to stop that action of that bubble, right?
Okay.
At an f3.5. So that's interesting. I don't know. I probably would have given it a little more depth of field, but oh, so this person knows what he's doing. He's a great photographer, and I'm not questioning anything about what his settings are and everything. I just wonder, could I pull that off with my gear? I don't know. I don't know that I could at 3.5, aperture of 3.5 and ISO 400. So he probably needed to bump up the ISO to get the speed. So I, guessing there, but that's works for me. Anything else, Jenny?
No, it's
All
really
right.
interesting.
Let's look at the next one. Go ahead.
Okay, couple burrowing owls. Yeah. Anga did a great job with this. I mean, which I know you don't like, looking directly at the photographer, which means they're aware and their behavior is being modified by the fact that you're there. But their eyes are very captivating. They're very bright. Yeah. The background's not too distracting. It's out of focus. I don't know. I think it's very well done.
Yeah, it's hard for us to comment when things are done well. We're like trying to pull out of our brain, what can we say here? So you got that?
Yeah,
are you done?
You find something.
Well, I was there, so I know how this was taken, and yeah, we had some overcast skies that day. I think it's maybe a little oversaturated. Maybe
it is very saturated. The colors do pop a lot.
They do. I think instead of oversaturating the whole thing, because the dirt was much lighter than that.
Okay.
But I think maybe I would back off a little bit and then just work on the eyes, and then bring back some of that yellow in the eyes. If it gets too flat, bring back just the yellow in the eyes, because that's really the main thing. It's not the whole owl or the whole head of the owl that really excites your viewers. It's those eyes that are staring right at you, right? And I think maybe a little more depth of field would have helped that second owl in the background.
Yeah, his forehead's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, let's look and see what it was. So this is interesting. So he shot this at f13. So how far did that owl have to be really behind and not on the same plane? Because f13 should have got both of those owls sharp as attack, right?
Yeah,
you would think. But that's interesting. Yeah, good. And the other settings fit fine. But yeah, it surprises me that owl was so far back. So if you're looking to shoot burrowing owls or photograph burrowing owls, then I know where to take you. So let me know. You can send me or Jenny or anybody an email if you have a question about that, or want to know where. Okay, let's go on to the next image, and I think this is my turn. And I'm
your turn.
Totally excited about this image because I saw this happening and it was just phenomenal. And it's not often that you're at the right place at the right time, but this coyote had gotten a snow goose and was making a meal of it. And I thought it was just fantastic. Too bad for the snow goose. We saw several snow goose that didn't make it, that were around the ponds, but this is out at Unit 1, and the ponds off to the west, which they were draining while we were there. So this was probably a great opportunity for a coyote to come and snag one of those snow geese that were making the pond its safe haven and turned out to be not. So again, this image is it's beautiful the way it's composed well. I think it's all nice, and it was really far out there. So whatever lens was used on this one, you had to have something with some reach, 5, 6, 8, whatever, would have been helpful. But I think it's also a little oversaturated, just from remembering the scene. Now, those of you that weren't there probably would think it looks just perfectly fine. And that's fine. But I think it was a little bit of not quite so blue. I don't remember the sky being quite so blue. The sky reflecting, meaning the sky reflecting in the pond. But nicely done, Jenny. Go. Other than the eyes looking straight at me, I mean, that kind of is nice in this circumstance because he's still on that snow goose. So we're far enough away where we're not disturbing him. I know that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did catch up on is it did seem very blue. Not having been there, it just seems bluer than anything you would see except in the tropics, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would just tone that down a little bit. Other than that, I mean, it's a great moment.
Great story.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's composed really well. The ripples in the water give it a nice border on the bottom. And yeah, the background isn't distracting. It gives you a sense of place and habitat without being overwhelming. So yeah, and then the lighting on the coyote is just really lovely. The kind of side light, it looks like it's early morning or late afternoon.
Early morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Let's see what the settings were on this one. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Now here, I wouldn't have thought you'd need an f13, but you know what? You're in the moment, you're maybe photographing something, you forgot to change your settings, or I would think like wide open would be fine for this image. But you do have really nice depth of field and blurred background and all that.
Yeah,
so
it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Nicely done. Yeah, one of my favorites. What a really nice opportunity at the Salton Sea, that's for sure.
Did you get any good photos of that moment?
No, because when I am out there leading, I normally do not take a lens with me. So I had my iPhone on me. I photographed people photographing the coyotes. So anyway, no, I didn't get any images from that. So you guys you're free to put them in a competition because I don't have anything. So if you're thinking about sending us pictures, we really, really appreciate that you will let us discuss your images and let us put them on the next YouTube channel or in the next episode. Send them to chickstalkingpics@gmail.com. 1920 on the longest side. That's the pixels. If you know how to change it, that'd be great. If you don't, just send it to me however you got, whatever you have, and we'll make it work. And in JPEG format, and that would be appreciated. And of course, if you don't want your pictures on a YouTube channel for all of eternity, then don't send them to us.
Yep. And while you're there watching an episode, go ahead and hit subscribe and the all button to get told when we post another episode.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to the next set of images, Jenny. It'll be fun.
Me too.
All right. Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in again.
See you next time.
See you next time.